This intro always hype us. That's super cool.
GM base chain.
GM, everyone. Oh, we already have base chain. Come on, let's go with this. What is this? Base chain, new PFP, new chunk. Come on. Oh my god. I have to call you later then. Well, guys, so happy to be here today. It's been a long time. Why? Because we've been working a lot. DocT is very exigent. You know, we work a lot on your collection. So now it's time to talk about it. Okay, are you ready, Doc?
Absolutely.
Ah, nice. I love always with the suit, always with the mask. I know that for you this is a difficult exercise. Lucky you, we're getting into winter, so it's gonna be easier for you, right? uh, we also have Butt Snub. Let's go. We already have so many people here. Hi, Butt Snub. Jim, guys, yes, sir. That's a Marfa chunk. Marfa chunk. Yeah, it's true that it was the Art Blocks Marfa event. Unfortunately, I wasn't there, but the pictures that I saw look great. So yeah,
Must be something very, very special from everything I hear.
man, like
Like a
this
bit out
place.
of the ordinary experience for everyone who joins, right?
Yeah, it's like when I discovered that they were doing that there, I was like, wow, I would love to do something similar. You know, like lost place and you create something unique like that. It's amazing. Wow, we have Scotch, we have Como. Welcome, everyone. Please, guys, like and retweet this show so more people see it. Actually, I was going to talk also a little bit about that. Like since the last algo update by X, I figured that now it shows a lot more to the zone where you are in when you're posting. So our impressions went from like 70-80% in the US to only 10-20 because it's referencing it to Switzerland, Spain, France, depending on where we are. So I'm gonna create this engage bot on Discord again to try to have people reacting and winning a few artworks. I'm gonna talk a little bit about that. But yeah, very sorry that on X we're losing a little bit of engagement. I'll go updates, but today you're gonna see everything here. So yeah, welcome everyone. Thank you, Como. Thank you for reposting the stream. Oh, hi, Tequila. Well, Doc, today revisiting elsewhere after all this work, after My Brain on Chain, after Weapon of Mass Liberation, after Portraits of Dissonance. I think that we're coming to, like this masterpiece of yours. At least it's my favorite collection. It's the one that I deeply connect with. And I know that a lot of people in the community are like me, particularly Scotch Fox, right? That loves your work. And he has a one of one of this collection. So yeah, revisiting elsewhere, man. We're gonna talk a little bit about that today. This is just the introduction, guys. Next week we're gonna do other live shows because there is a lot to show. But yeah, today I wanted to have DocT here talking about the collection. So without further ado, I'm gonna share the collection page that we have here. Let's go. Perfect. If you guys haven't checked it out yet, go to vivid.gallery and visit it. There is a lot of information there, and you'll see some of the artworks. Man, let's go, Doc. How do you started this collection? I know that it comes from Ethereum, the concept. Maybe you can start by telling us a little bit about that.
Exactly. It's coming from a truly foundational space. Revisiting elsewhere, and what we have now worked on is actually the second chapter of something that began on Ethereum layer one, and now finds a home on Bitcoin. And beginning on Ethereum really takes me back to the early days. Not too long ago, actually, but you know how this space operates.
True.
A year or 1.5 years is like a century. And when I first, looked into fully on-chain art or reconsidering the blockchain as a canvas, as a medium, and not simply as something where smart contracts wobble around,
Hmm.
I was fortunate enough to get invited into a group of fully on-chain artists by Ella, Brightlight, and Peng. They kind of took me over, And a lot of that, what was happening in there, was happening on Ethereum layer one, using the ID's Efficax extension for Manifold, which
Hmm.
made it quite easy actually to inscribe your artwork. It was a costly endeavor. It often, turned out to be a zero-sum game, but this was all about, just trying and getting to know this technology and what it means. And yeah, one of the first works or little collections I put out there was this Revisiting Elsewhere, a Daydreamer's Diary chapter, which is now continued as Revisiting Elsewhere Chapter 2, Effective Memories on Chain.
Hmm.
So this is kind of where it's coming from. It's also how I got to know a bunch of people, some of whom
Yeah,
are
it's true.
also
I
here.
saw the collector list. I saw that you've been collected like the
A
Ethereum
lot of
collections and all.
familiar
Yeah.
faces, Sponge Fox, Base Chain, of course. So quite a few in there who then kind of based on what they saw there felt was enough quality wise to actually introduce me to Ujira at the end of the day. So for me, this was kind of my kickoff in terms of fully on-chain art and the beginning of something I can now no longer return from, apparently.
Now that once you go on chain, there is no way back. Yeah, for sure. Doc?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. I thought that I had an internet problem. Okay, no, right. Oh, good. Yeah, no, that's true. Like, I think that once you start doing on-chain stuff, like you realize that the effort is really worth it because you're safe. Like lately it's been a little bit of FUD around the Amazon servers problem, and some people like trolling a little bit, like saying, "Oh, look at ordinals." Well, it's true here. It's on chain. Let's go. But the thing is, isn't it worth it once you have done all this effort for your art to like just chill after the inscriptions? You have inscribed your art, it's there, your job is done. Now it's just time to show it, but you don't have to worry about anything. And so yeah, well, congratulations to start doing that on Ethereum and now continuing, leading, showing the way. I hope that more artists that are doing that on Ethereum are also going to try that on Bitcoin. But maybe you are the leader, of this movement.
Well, there is. I mean, that's kind of the direction of things, right? I mean, most of us are somehow coming from the Ethereum side, so of
True,
course,
we can.
working with Ethereum or continuing working with Ethereum feels natural to do
Hmm.
so. There's not so much distance to it, and then of course, ultimately progressing. I don't know if that's the right word, but just venturing out into ordinals and Bitcoin as well is kind of then the second step most of us, I think, take.
Hmm.
And I think the way of actually doing it is to just continue playing with both. Particularly when I see things that, like, I think I saw chunks in here earlier, so things
Yeah,
that
the
kind of play
chunks.
with the duality between different chains and things like that. I think that's really needed for our
Yeah.
space to
It's
break up.
funny. Base Change said something very interesting. I saw his tweet was saying there is something common with the 100 million inscriptions or whatever, that they all have an Ethereum Teleburn address. And he was like, yeah, use the protocol. And it's true. I think that it's something that very few people used already. And the Bitcoin chunks is a great experiment because it allows a lot of people to come from Ethereum for almost nothing. Like it's super cheap to inscribe these kind of collections. Plus, it's showing parent child the perfect way. Just having all these collections creating with each other. So yeah, congrats Base Chain for that. Yeah, he's here
Absolutely,
shouting
hats off
chunks,
there.
chunks. But yeah, no, congrats on that. We can't wait to see them all. But yeah, okay. So revisiting elsewhere, then you said that this was kind of the second chapter, let's say. To me, it's really cool because what we saw on Ethereum, you were using this tool for compression and the style. You can recognize the style, but here we've taken another approach. Even if we are getting in deeper into the concept, let's say, and showing more affective memories as you title them. But yeah, in a kind of different visual style. So that's also super cool that we are going to talk a little bit about, like the grain and everything. So you're using the protocol once again in a correct way, in a different way. So that's super cool. But you wrote this. I know that I wrote something a little bit similar at the beginning, but you asked us to change it because I think that you really have the concept perfectly written in your mind. And I just decided, you know what, we're gonna copy exactly what you wanted here on this section. So please just tell a bit about this because for me this is the super interesting part about this collection.
Gladly so. And hope interrupt me if I'm talking too long, because this collection is something I can talk about for a very, very long time.
No worries.
Um, as always, when I start with something, it's not that I kind of create something and then think about, well, maybe this could be a collection. Then I kind of continue on that. I kind of start more specific. I like to use this concept above all kind of phrase, and I
Yeah.
hope it's not overused. But for me, it's really this is something very, very particular I wanted to do with this, and not just anything, but something very specific, very particular. And I think one of the things I just like to put out there is if you look at those images, it's not really about nostalgia or something of the sort.
Hmm.
That's something one might see in there in terms of the stylistic choices I've made,
True.
but it's
It's
really
easy.
more about going back to the purest things, which is for me the architecture of emotion. How
Hmm.
our earliest effective experiences become sort of the scaffolding of identity or to identity, and of course this is something and just a theme I'm constantly exposed to as a pediatrician, as a father of two still quite young children. Um, Seeing how identity is being shaped by encounters, by the experiences kids make or we all made in our youth. That's just something you kind of witness on a day-to-day basis. And of course, if you go beyond that, as adults, it's still difficult sometimes to talk about,
True.
the emotional side of things, but we have tools to somehow do so often, But this really goes into this pre-linguistic space. That's a term you, by the way, use, and
I
I'm
love
just
that part. I love
copying
that
in
part when you say like it's talking about like experiences without like before when you experience them before you have the words to explain them. And I love this sentence. Like I think that it describes perfectly well what you try to do here.
because yeah, we all had this point when certain feelings or
Feelings.
things we felt within ourselves didn't really have a name. We weren't able to categorize that. We couldn't rationalize that at all.
Mm.
Something we all continue learning, by the way, throughout our lives, I think. But at the beginning, it's a complete mess. It's just
Yeah.
chaotic, and that's why I wanted to go for something which is more raw or more condensed, perhaps, kind of emotional data archive rather
Hmm.
than a chronological story.
Hmm.
And I know we all, the older we get, the more we kind of tend to remember through language as well, like a narrative, something. Yeah.
Hmm.
But beneath all of that are kind of emotions we all went through and experienced before we knew the words for them. And this is kind of my attempt to inscribe those things through the lens of when they were still wordless. Yeah.
Resurfacing them, like leaving them again, because it's true that, as you said, like we, the more we live them, the more we experience those, we kind of remember those for with the words, but not that much with the feelings, and but they are still there, and that's like the foundational level. What I have experienced, going through all these artworks is really trying to go deeper and saying, okay, what's the kind of the first memory that I remember deep inside of me when I look at this artwork. Of course, everyone has a different life, and when you're going to look at these artworks, everyone's going to feel something different. But it was really a good exercise of trying to find the origins, and it's super cool because that's something we always talk with my friends, like with Piero. Piero could talk a little bit about that maybe later. But I'm always a guy saying I just want to live new experiences. The first memory is the greatest one. Like the first time that we live this is the one that I remember perfectly. And I don't know if it's
Everything
only
else
my
is
brain.
repetition. Yeah.
Sorry?
Everything else is repetition.
Exactly. I love that sentence, but it's funny that you said that because when I talk to people, it's for them it wasn't that much. I know that at least for me, this is completely true. Like I remember perfectly well the first experiences, the first feelings, and then my memory kind of erases the other ones. But the first one, it's crazy how I remember every detail. And yeah, I think that a lot of people will recognize themselves with that, and that's also why this collection is so powerful in terms of feelings. Like uh, I know that some collectors just by like they want to collect a specific piece because it reminds them an experience that they cherish most, and you manage to do that through this collection where you have at the same time a lot of similar feelings, let's say, that people can just compare that to a nostalgia feeling when you start looking at the collection the first time. But then once you go deeper, it's completely unique. And you also mentioned that it's like everyone has I don't remember exactly the exact sentence, but you will understand that the memories are a human constant. Like you have your own, but it's not your own memory, your own first experience. It's a human constant that you live in your own way or something like
I mean,
this. And I love that.
that's the connecting point, right? So of course, the starting point is of course what lies underneath my own biography, right? That's kind of
Hmm.
where you embark with
Yeah.
something like this. But every artist, including myself, has this before. So there's this silent or not so silent set of coordinates. And then from that set of coordinates, everything else that later emerges kind of originates from. And
Hmm.
revisiting elsewhere, if you want, is kind of my map of that before space. And I consider that actually an important anchor point for my work in general, because I think one of the things all of us who maneuver through this digital very fleeting space where things just get drowned in the timeline and all of that, it's kind of difficult to really have these kind of anchor points that well, this is kind of where DocT thinking is coming from. This is where it originated from. It's a prequel to later, if you want, right? And everyone has that, of course. And but I do hope, or I think, that if you go through the works, and of course there's me in there, divided into little bits and pieces. Now it's not my brain, now it's more going towards the heart and my own memories, but it's still a process of kind of fragmentating myself, or fragmenting myself into little bits and pieces, and then everyone can puzzle them together. But I still believe that in terms of what I do, might become more clear if you look at something like revisiting elsewhere. Even if you now look at something of the
Well, it
later works, which
depends.
is far more, conceptual in
Yeah.
nature in terms of, using everyday objects or something like that, or being more sculptural if you want to consider the My Brain on Chain floppy disks as such. So, of course, that's the starting point. But
Yeah.
as you mentioned, and I'm glad you did, I do hope that the collection offers something where people, really feel invited to introspection.
It
So
completely
what are
does.
your own effective
Yeah.
foundations when you look at this? What are your emotional key events, your milestones, the things that shape everyone who basically goes through this collection? So it's memories you can, of course, collect in terms of the artwork, but as you said, it is addressing these anthropological constants. And my hope is that when people look at these works, they, of course, see kind of where my line of thinking
Yeah.
originated from or is coming from, but more importantly, that they actually find themselves before they became themselves.
Hmm.
I think that's something we tend to forget to look back to. And
Hmm.
I think it's quite important because, we all have, behavioral patterns and things we are happy with and things we might not be so happy with. And really understanding why you're doing what you're doing, why you're acting the way you're acting, speaking the way you're speaking, all of that, why you're building your life in a very
Yeah.
particular way. It usually becomes more clear when you go back to that
Yeah,
place. And that's,
it doesn't mean that you'll be able to change completely your behavior, but at least you can understand it a little bit. Like I love this topic of understanding your trauma and how it affects your decisions and everything that you do in life. And one thing is to be conscious about it, and the other thing is not being affected by it. I think it's two completely different things. But yeah, I love that you said that because it makes complete sense to everything that we have built around this collection. We're going to talk about the naming thing because it's at the same time yours, your foundation, as you want to say. Like you wrote here, like to ask who was the artist DocT is to be guided back here, look at revisiting elsewhere, and you will understand. So you have this funny way of showing yourself, and you already did that with My Brain on Chain. So like it's a constant in you, like you are unveiling the DocT personality, or you are decentralizing yourself, doxing you through My Brain on Chain, sharing your brain, and here also sharing memories, your memories, let's say your affective memories, but at the same time people will feel theirs, and there is this always this duality in your work that I love, and having this fully on chain, it's extremely important because this is your foundation, and I think that all the next collections that we are gonna work together, let's say, uh, are gonna be referenced by this word. I think that now people will be able to understand a lot more your next collections because it's true that when we did Portraits of Dissonance, for example, people could understand why you created that, and now also with Weapon of Mass Liberation, a little bit more what was your mission here. But now, okay, now we know who is DocT and what he has to tell to the world. Yeah, so congratulations for that.
thank you. And I think that's also why it's so important to me personally, why this is on chain, because as you said, you always have this duality when you have the medium, you have the message, you have the audience, you have the art, and you kind of have to put that together. And when you work, of course, on the medium side of things, of course, the aspect of permanence comes to mind, and of course, the question, well, what is, it's the ultimate question, what is worth remembering forever, probably.
What is for?
And to me, this is this beautiful, often difficult, heartwarming, sometimes heartbreaking, oftentimes cruel and violent act of becoming.
Mm,
That's the ultimate thing worth preserving, if you like. And every technology at some point becomes emotional. That's kind of the cultural adaptation process. There's attachment, there are things, it becomes a thing of the heart at some point.
mm.
And yeah, I think it felt right to sort of expand my on-chain anatomy, if you like, beyond the brain and the face, and now really aim for something which is closer to the heart.
The heart, yeah, closer to the heart. It's funny. I attended this conference about art and tech, and this museum director, where she was saying that uh, right now a lot of people in the art ecosystem are a little bit afraid about technology, even if technology was always one of the first thing that like it was always evolving at the same time with art, and usually art was evolving through the technology advancement, but here technology has evolved so fast that a lot of people feel disconnected because, as you said, like technology and the feelings are together, but our minds are, like our brains, our evolution is way slower than technology right now. So maybe a lot of people feel disconnected that way, but you don't. Apparently, you are here on the Bitcoin blockchain, completely fine, and
Don't get me wrong. I have my fearful moments when I look, like currently in my medical practice, we are adapting a lot of AI solutions. So going with the technological progress there, and some of the stuff is really frightening, to be honest. But I think. fear is a quite it's an unconstructive feeling. It doesn't lead you anywhere. So
I don't know. I don't know. So at least for me, I use it as a guide. You know, when I'm afraid of something, of taking a decision, I usually know that I'm facing an important moment of my life, and if I want to change, I know that I have to go with it.
let me be more precise. Paralyzing fear is an
Paralyzing fear.
unconstructive
Oh
feeling.
yeah, of course.
Yeah. So as long as it has its purpose, absolutely. Evolution wouldn't have happened without it. Probably say, oh, look, fire. Let's just jump into it. No, it's important. It's important to have that, no doubt. But the way you work with it, right? That's where the different
True.
outcome
Yeah.
is generated from,
True that
and you
maybe
you can
some.
kind of
Yeah.
accept things that are fearful and in fear.
Yeah.
But the question is, how do you deal with it? What comes now?
Hmm. I agree. No, that's cool. That's a good way of saying it. And I think that a lot of people right now are paralyzed also with the technology. Like, it happens so fast. So we're living this phase of adaptation. So we'll see. Okay, it's funny that also in your own industry, you're also seeing that. So, well, just before continuing on everything that we've built around this collection, I wanted to show some things very quickly. Okay, I know that we could talk a little bit about that, like maybe for hours. But yeah, I wanted to show what a few pictures that you shared with me regarding the last collections that we released together, Portraits of
Yeah.
Dissonance and Weapon of Mass Liberation. And I love you. I love you, man. Why? Because you always come with surprises. Like, there is always something more, always something interesting to add. And yeah, for the guys, that the collectors of Portraits of Dissonance, you are now exactly El Gato and Tanim. You are now adding something, and even I wasn't aware of it, and I think it's a super great idea, and they are there in the Discord wondering what this is. So just very quickly, if you can let us know what it is, can you show that to us?
I can try. So no, I'm working on a little something, and full disclosure, some of this is the byproduct of a conversation I had with Machine in the Discord way back. Maybe it was even in DMs. I don't remember quite the context, but when we looked at portraits of dissonance, and I mean, one of these themes is, identity never being finished. It's always something where layer comes upon layer, where things get destroyed, wiped out, painted over, and it's this constant dynamic form of existing that we call identity, but it's not this stable kind of fixed thing, at least not in my perception. So for the collectors, and huge shout out to everyone who felt so attracted to this collection that they actually decided to collect. I wanted to add a little something, and these paintings, of course, as we discussed previously, are the product of our collaboration with Meta Labs,
Hmm.
which is a great little company over in New York, employing robots to actually create these insane acrylic paintings. And we spend a lot of time going through my works, training the algorithm on the digital brush stroke, and figuring out all these grooves and everything. So they create these depth maps based on the 2D image, and then kind of recreate and build up the work in these very thick layers, almost impasto layers of acrylic paint, and then add the colors, which we also went through multiple times. And of course, there's the signature yellow. And what I'm now doing is collectors of these works are getting a little something, which is this custom-made leather etui. And if you open it, should we open it, Gerard? I think we should
Wow, let's
open
go.
it.
Let's go.
Yeah, let's open it.
I hope that they're watching the show. I wanted
Well, there's a
my
little
goal here.
something. Let me just share a little bit. So one would be this, which is an acrylic brush. Some might recognize it from Weapon of Mass Liberation. It actually has, this is another brush which doesn't fit into that, by the way, but it actually has a little edition number in it if
Uh,
collectors of Portraits of Dissonance coincide to also be holders of weapon of mass liberation. And of course, but it's not just a kind of gesture or something. It comes with this as well, which is a tube of the DocT signature yellow.
Me.
And what I'm doing here is I'm actually inviting the owners of this piece to continue the process. So if they like, if they want to add something, if they want to destroy something, grab your brush, grab your color, and just add another layer if you feel like it. Curious if someone will actually do it.
I
They
wouldn't.
are, in every case,
I'd be too afraid of of killing the
they
painting.
are very, very much invited to do so because, again, the work plays on the theme of identity, and that's a process that is never finished. So I'm afraid if you get it, you get some homework as well in
As you said,
continuing.
collecting DocT is not a passive act. So here they have to play the game. Huh? And look, Tanim just joined the live show, and he's like, "What the fuck? Why is there my name there?" So yeah, Tanim, you got a surprise. But now we need to continue talking about revisiting elsewhere. I'm sorry, Tanim. You should have joined at the beginning. Come on.
Here's a recording.
There is a recording, but yeah, I love this because it's a little gift for these portraits of dissonance collectors. We are preparing a little something too for the weapon of mass liberation collectors. So yeah, that's what I love about you. You know, like it's not a passive act, but it's also not something that just stops. You continue giving value and yeah, you know, referencing back to the old collections, and that's super cool. We have Tanim here, who apparently likes it. So yeah, you will soon receive that. So thank you so much, guys. Tanim, Elgato. We have that juice. We also have Maxime that collected the portraits of dissonance. We still need to do an announcement about these guys. There's
Yeah,
too many things from DocT. But yeah, let's get back to revisiting elsewhere then. We were talking uh, about how these memories, affective memories, everyone will experience it by their own. And so we thought that this was a very good idea to allow collectors to actually name their pieces, and that's something that I think it's going to be quite challenging for some people, at least for me it is. But yeah, so what we have prepared here is that right now collectors of Weapon of Mass Liberations or My Brain on Chain and POD, they can access this platform where they can suggest titles. So I have a quick video here. Here it is. Yeah, that's the platform. So now your collectors have access to this platform where they can actually suggest titles for each of the 200 artworks in the collection. Why do you think that this is so important for this collection? I know that you wrote a quick announcement a few days ago. Can you go deeper into that?
sure. Um, well, as we said, it touches upon these shared universal human experiences, and if you want to go that path, I mean, if you want to create a kind of emotional autobiography of yourself as an artist, you could do something like this. Title it. I mean, the title is always quite important to me, to be very honest.
Yeah.
It complements the work in a very meaningful way when done correctly and with enough time and effort. But here I'm kind of offering the base structure of what we're seeing. But then, and of course, I have my meaning in that.
Mm-hmm.
But I really believe that with the works we have selected also for this, there is this connectedness to the others. And if I want to go and be consequential in taking this route of now decentralizing the emotional foundations of my own biography, but also let the origins of my artistic process, I want to have that outside perspective as well.
Yeah.
So I want to have these other people coming in and adding their kind of aspect to it, their connotation and their own experience to it. It wouldn't be the collection if this mechanism wouldn't be there. It kind of would have failed its purpose in a way. And now, of course, I'm asking something here. I know that from what I read in DMs, some people are really taking their time. They're
Yeah.
sitting with the work, they're thinking, they're remembering. And to be honest, a lot of the stuff doesn't take you back to the most happiest of places. And that's, of course, something you have to be willing to engage with. And I'm entirely certain it's not everyone's cup of tea, but
Mhm.
that's fine. My work seldom is. So, with that said, I'm very grateful for everyone who has already participated. I think it's quite a beautiful
Well,
something
I'm
coming
glad to say
together.
that we have at least a suggested title for all the artwork. So that's cool.
Excellent.
Yeah. Now, the thing is, it's very challenging, but at the same time, I think it's such a wonderful way to make this artwork your own and make this memory your own. Like you say, like you are providing something like the baseline, let's say, but you want people to experience something that it's truly unique for them. And first, this experience, like this first experience where you are just suggesting, is already very challenging, but it was also a necessary step because, as you said, for some people it's going to be hard to choose a title for their own artwork. So that's how we went for this solution where now all your collectors can suggest titles, and once the final collector of the final artwork goes to the minting platform, they'll be able to choose between these titles. So you will see the suggestions. Maybe there is one that you like, and also you will maybe understand uh, other things about the artwork that you have in front of you, or you can write your own. So for those who is a little bit complicated, they just have to go and pick the one that they consider the most relevant for this artwork, or the one that connects with them. So yeah, I think it's a good compromise
I
for
think
such
it's
challenging.
it's the best way to really use the intellectual power, the
Yeah.
collective intellectual power that goes into this.
Oh,
And
your collector army. You have an army of weapon of mass liberation behind you. Let's go. So yeah, well, so guys, thank you first of all for all those really participated. Um, we have been checking some of the titles with Piero this morning. I love a lot of them. There are some who are like, this is very descriptive, It's, and I like it, but it's funny. I think it'd be very interesting to see the process, and that's what I want to do with Scotch next week. With Scotch Fox, we'll actually use the platform and we'll go uh, through a lot of artworks. We'll see how many, but I want to do this with Scotch Fox just to share what we remember by looking at this artwork and trying to give a title. I don't know if we will manage to, write together a title or if it would be one and one. We'll see. It'd be
but
pretty
that's
funny.
that's a beautiful exercise, and
Yeah,
I'm
it'll be fun.
very grateful for the both of you to actually go through this exercise.
Yeah.
It will be, I mean, you're taking a lot of time out of your day. One
I,
of the
I would love
things,
to do the 200. We'll see.
yeah, no, but one of the things I'm actually really looking forward to is, usually when you create a collection, if you look at revisiting Elsewhere Chapter One, for example, um, it's very streamlined in terms of the title composition.
Yeah,
Or in other collect, you have, I don't know, the night, the
yeah.
dawn, the this, the that. I think a prime example for that is probably my Kingdom of a Dreamer collection, which wasn't fully on chain, where I worked on European fairy tales and things like that. It's very similar. And here I expect quite a heterogeneous group of titles,
Yeah. So,
which don't appear at all as if they belong into the same collection. And for me, this is a little stylistic, icing on the cake,
mhm.
because we are going to this pre-linguistic era of
Yeah.
understanding and feeling. And of course, the words that are associated with this, they have to be kind of bumpy when you go through the whole road. It cannot be clean. It has to be somehow chaotic. Otherwise, it wouldn't do justice what we're dealing with here.
It's gonna be a complete chaos. Like the final collection, the 200 pieces. Like this also deserves a full show. Like we will do the titling show and then the discovering show. Where we just look at the 200 artworks title, and I think it's gonna be a good representation of what you wanted to share here. Well, you'll let us know. You'll let us know.
Yeah.
We have Scotchbox here. Yeah, we need to do the 200. Well, Scotch, we're gonna need a lot of coffee or a lot of Scotch. We'll see. But maybe
Good,
we'll
just
need
mix.
2 or 3 shows. But if you want to do them and if people enjoy them, well, let's do that. So everyone will be able to choose our titles. Okay. So I also wanted to show the other things that we have built for this collection. So as you can see, guys, like everything is connected and everything makes sense for revisiting elsewhere. We thought that such a deep, conceptually deep collection that it needs a lot of time and a lot of discovery from you guys. And that's why we decided to build a small platform where you can choose from 2 artworks. So I have it here, like what moves you first. I really wanted to contextualize it like this because it's a good way to contrast with this other experience where you have to take a lot of time in front of the artwork. Here we wanted to do the opposite, where you actually go very quickly, like in this uh,
It's more
in
intuitive.
social media, exactly, social media apps or whatever, where you go very quickly, and it's a great experience because you're like, okay, this one moves me first, and if it's another layer. So for me, this is the perfect introduction for the collection. But if you don't do the other exercise, I think that you're missing a lot. But of course, we also wanted something for people to discover it quickly and giving them the this desire to know more about it. So through this platform, what you guys can do is go here and choose the artwork that moves you first, or wherever you want to put it. And once you have chosen, I believe it's 8 or 10 artworks, you'll be able to give us your ordinals address, and you'll be whitelisted in the second phase. So after DocT collectors. So it's also a good way if you are interested in the work to get an opportunity to collect it. So let me just show it right here. It's always hard to go like my when I'm here on this platform. I want to go very quickly, like as quick as possible, and it's hard sometimes. I love this one. Oh my god! Oh, and this one is one of my favorite. Okay, so we have here, and as you can see here, you can just claim your whitelist spots. You put your name, ordinals address, and email, so we can let you know once the collecting phase is live. And of course, you can just go back and continuing playing this little game. And let's go through this collector's choice, because so what we have done is play with this Elo algorithm, where right now, for example, you have this revisiting elsewhere 143, that's top one, and it means that it has won a lot of times. But let's say that someone chooses a very low elo artwork um, against this one, it's going to lose a lot of points. So it's a very evolving top. So yeah, I just wanted to to mention that, because a lot of people didn't understand exactly well what we were doing, and that's why the top is always evolving every day. So I always go here,
How
even
many
if
people have
okay.
taken
So
the test?
we have like more than 2,000
Ooh.
selections. So
Wow.
I don't remember exactly how many people, but I know that it's more than 100. But yeah, 2,000 selections. So we have an average of 20 selections per person, something like this.
It's awesome to hear. Shout
Yeah.
out to everyone. This is great.
Yeah, because some people are like, "Oh my God, 1K votes on this." I was like, "No, guys, there are not that many votes. It's an interest level." But yeah, right now we have this one. I cannot zoom on it. Ah, shit. But yeah, we have this one with the rabbit and the stake of the rabbit. down there. I know that this one is one of their favorites, and I love this one with the grandma and the snakes.
Do you have a favorite in the collection?
Uh, it's hard
Scotch
to.
Fox 1200 RPM.
Well, the thing is, uh, I don't have a favorite because I don't know exactly what do I want to get from this collection yet. Like, uh, it's funny because we play with with Miriam, with my girlfriend, and we're like, we have very different ways of experimenting this collection, and I was like, we need to choose one to have it at home. And then you start thinking about, oh yeah, which one is my favorite, but also the one that could be, at home and that we would like to see every day. And you come to this reflection where, like, do I want to remember a positive memory every day, or do I want to remember something that was like a learning phase of my life? Or so yeah, it's hard. I don't know exactly what do I want from this collection, but I do have
That's
like five or six artworks that, yeah,
But
I
that's such an important point because I think aesthetically speaking, I at least tried my very best to make sure that all of these works could qualify to actually hang on a wall,
yeah.
which I think something we will also be talking about in a minute about
Hmm.
this special auction attached to it. Um, but I think, yeah, it very much depends. And I remember, I will not disclose who or what, but I remember talking to a collector about my previous collection on Ethereum and about having a physical of one of the pieces they collected. And there was one piece which was really nice, and another piece which meant a lot to them. But exactly this question arose: can I look at it every day? Do I want to look at it every day?
Exactly.
And I don't know how other people go about it, but in my home, when it comes to I have this kind of rotating system. So I have art on my walls. I also have an attic which is filled with art. So th- it is kind of I do change the stuff a lot around. And I could imagine that this is something what will happen to
That's a good
these
strategy.
pieces if people
Yeah.
decide to also go after a physical, that they might hang it when they feel prepared to hang it on their
Hmm.
wall, and might take it away if it's just not the right time to deal with it. So that might very well occur, but again, we are coming from the digital art space, so why should our physical art be static in our rooms? I think there's always
Mm.
an opportunity to change things around.
Yeah. Mm. Yeah, I like that. Well, I'll see, but I'll definitely want. I definitely want one at home. But yeah, it may not be my favorite, or at least the one that I really connected the most with. But yeah, like, we'll see. For
So
example,
Gerard,
this
how
that
would the process work if I wanted to have one of those pieces at home?
well, so yeah, we need to talk about that. So, guys, right now we are finishing the platform, no, so the minting platform, collecting platform, and it should be open next week. We will see. But yeah, next week we should be opening to the DocT collectors. So all your weapon of mass liberation collectors, my brain on chain, and portraits of dissonance collectors. And then the idea would be to maybe leave it open for a week or so. We'll see also, depending on how many people want to collect it. Then we'll open it to vivid collectors and all the people that want a whitelist through this platform. Okay. And what's going to be cool about the platform, there are a lot of new things. So first, you'll connect your wallet like always, and you will see your allocation. Okay. Then the cool thing is that we are allowing people, if they want to collect your work without spending any of their Bitcoin, they can now buy it with credit card or debit card. So that's first huge news. We'll see if a lot of people use it, but we thought that it was about time, because with Portraits of Dissonance, for example, some collectors are like, oh, I really love the artwork, but I also want to keep my BTC. let me transfer some of my funds into BTC, and like, okay, let's just open this option. So yeah, you'll be able to collect it with fiat money, and then you'll see the artworks that you get. So it's a random mint, like every one of our mints. But then comes the hardest part. Well, you have to choose the titles, okay? And as I was saying before, you'll see the suggestions, and you can also write your own title. Once you do that, remember that this title is going to be on chain. So it's going to be the official title of the artwork. It's going to be inscribed afterwards with this metadata, etc. So the collection is not inscribed yet. And then you'll have the option to get a physical if you want. I will. So a little bit like we did with not a painting, but here it will be open to everyone. It's not a limited edition, let's say. Like if the 200 artworks want to be claimed in a physical, you can. But yeah, it'd be open at that time, and you can also get this with fiat money. So pretty cool. And then of course we'll inscribe it and airdrop it to you. And what I love also about this option is that the physical is a really unique version of the digital, because the digital one has this grainy effect. I don't know if people already notice that much. It depends on the artwork, but the digital version have this grain effect that you really wanted to add. Of course, people will be able to go it on and off. But yeah, I wanted to go through this animation, because it really is an animation. It's maybe I need to. Can we see it? I don't know if people can see it already. Let me find one of the this one on the right. We can definitely see it, right?
We could go for
Yeah,
65, but in the
yeah.
first, yeah.
The punching child. Yeah. But yeah, why did you wanted to add this animation or this effect?
Because memory isn't clear. It's it's something which is blurry, which is again you have this kind of feeling about something, but it's not as precise as we like to think of it. And of course, using a lot of symbolism here, I try to be as precise as possible. But by nature of design, it is not. So I wanted to go for something. Was thinking about going the blur effect, just having it a bit, but that would kind of ruin the artwork. And so that didn't really work. So yeah, we came up with this idea of just adding this layer, if you like, which uses these little points which are then dancing around, which is this grainy effect, like when you're looking at an old movie or something, like VHS esque, if you like. So I wanted to add that because I think it just elevated the work in that sense.
Mhm.
And I mean, what we also did going through this process, we basically allocated a different intensity of this grain effect to different works.
Curated intensity level for each one of
The
them.
rated intensity level, that was a first, but again, there is a logic behind it. Um, Curious if people will see it or discover it for themselves.
Yeah.
But there is a logic to it. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that definitely is, and there are a couple of artworks that really have a high intensity, and it's funny because I'm really sorry, Doc. I didn't even ask, but I knew that you were gonna give me the okay. But I share the artworks with Scotch Fox. I know how much he loves this collection, and he went through all of them because I was like. I was telling him, yeah, we curated all the intensity levels, and there is one that really has one very very high, and he directly told me which one. So he went through the whole collection and he remembered everything. So yeah, but man, there's gonna be so much to
Awesome.
discover once we inscribe this collection: the titles, the intensity levels, who collected them, and why they name it like this. I hope that people will share that on the Discord. It would be very, very, very cool.
Looking forward to it. Yeah.
Hmm. Exactly. Let's go. And like this. Okay. Well, so yeah, just to summarize this, guys, we are finishing the platform, and as soon as it's finished, you'll be able to collect it. Um, Starting next week, we will do the live show. So what we will do is once the platform is live, we'll start doing the naming live shows with Scotch, so people can also explore with us the whole collection. Here we have seen maybe 30, 40 artworks, but remember there are 200, and it's an incredible collection to collect. I think that in the secondary market, if you really have one that you like, my God, that's it. It's going to be very important to be fast and claim it forever. Even if I think that also by naming your artwork, it's going to be even more difficult to
To
separate
let
yourself.
go, yeah.
It's going to be hard. So yeah, so let's go to the website page. Maybe we wanted to show something more. I love this artwork. I saw that you use it also as your ex banner.
Yeah.
Very good one. Maybe that's one of my favorites, for example, because when I saw it, it really uh, it really connected with this sentence that I wanted to put on the website. What's the first thing you remember being told not to touch? For me, it's something um, where I really connect with. Like as a child, I wanted to touch everything. I was super curious, and I have so many memories of my parents or my family telling me, "Oh no, you don't have to touch this." And that yeah, I connected with this artwork 100%. And
Certainly, yeah.
no,
Pills are not for children if they stand around at home.
maybe that's why I'm
They're
weird.
amongst the least popular things pediatricians want to see their patients swallow unobserved. But again, it's also a theme, and this pill theme is something that kind of reemerges in the collection. I think there are like
Yeah, there
two
are
or three
many.
pieces in there,
Hmm.
and this one in particular is where I was in the past and still am quite involved this area also of ADHD and treatments and all of that,
Hmm.
and I've gone through all the shifts, in our guidelines and how we address things and how we deal
Yeah,
with these things, and it's a difficult topic, treatment wise. Don't want to go into that too far. It's a hour long conversation or TED talk if you like.
I can imagine.
But what I do see beyond that theme of ADHD, but in pediatrics in general, is that we do see a lot of, if you like, over prescribing, over drugging kind of things. It's just
Hmm.
an issue which happens, which is a bit difficult to handle
Hmm.
oftentimes. So particularly when it comes to this kind of prescriptions, which when correctly indicated can solve a lot of problems.
Hmm.
There is a growing number of kind of borderline cases where you're not really sure where this is coming from, and there's a lot of pressure getting built up, particularly where I'm working now. We have lots of schools sending children by saying, well, they need to start drug therapy, and
Wow.
because teaching them is so difficult. And then of course the parents, it's one of these things which, and again, I'm not talking about these really severe cases where it's really beneficial for everyone involved, especially the children, but
Hmm.
more of those cases where other treatment options, behavioral therapy, these sort of
Yeah,
things could also do a great deal.
they
And we
choose
have
the
this
simple
infrastructure.
solution instead
We
of
have, but
maybe.
when you label these things and then put some drugs on the table, it solves the doctors. It's solved because they can just prescribe something. For the
Yeah,
parents, it's solved because the kid is much more agreeable when under medication. For the teacher, it solves the problem because teaching is more easy. And yeah, for some of the kids, it's a good solution. It really improves their lives. But I'm just observing. I'm not the only one. We're actually
hmm.
about to put out a statement on that from our pediatric societies here. We see a growing number of kind of borderline indications where the prescription block is pulled out
So is it like
extremely
separating
quickly.
the specialists into teams, like into schools, the ones that are really uh, against that, or at least like they find it
Yeah, but
controversial?
it's the same with
Yeah,
like if
yeah.
we can go beyond that. If you look at the prescription rates for antibiotics, for
Okay.
example, for viral infections where they don't really serve a purpose, but um, you know people just prescribe it because it's faster to prescribe an antibiotic than to explain to the patients or the parents of the patient why this is actually not necessary in this
Yeah.
particular case. So yeah, that's something I'm dealing with a lot. And for me personally, to go back to this one,
Hmm.
um, I actually had bacterial meningitis when I was 6 years old. So I was in hospital for 3.5 months. Had to learn how to, walk and everything afterwards. It
Wow.
was a close call, and that was kind of me being just drowned in drugs every day. Those had a purpose and helped me a great deal and assured I survived. But I still remember just this numbness where, the nurses came by and injected these horrible antibiotics, which just burnt my arm away. And it was a very painful experience. So just drowning in all of that. That's a very impactful early memory of mine. And that's what this particular work is about for me. But
Oh,
again, that can be different for someone else
well,
looking at it.
it's funny. I have a kind of a similar thing too. Like I was in the hospital for a couple of weeks, and I needed. They were giving me morphine. I don't know if that's the name also in English.
Yeah.
Morphine, yeah. And man, wow, it was pretty crazy. And I remember that I went completely addicted at that point. I think that if I had access to this thing by myself, I would have taken it afterwards because it was super strong, and it wasn't. It was also a way of getting rid of what was hurting. So it was even more powerful, and I remember what it did to my arms, and they had to inject me like in the leg or something because there wasn't any more room to put it there. And I also remember, yeah, this kind of numbness. It was crazy. So I think that's
No,
something that
the opioid and fentanyl crisis didn't
it's
appear out of
crazy.
thin air. It was
And
my profession which kind of
yeah,
introduced it. Yeah.
that's and also today there is this whole topic about the antidepressors. I don't know if that's the name in English. Sorry for that. But there are so many people. Like every time that I look at the stats, it's crazy. Here in Europe, at least, I don't know if in the US it's the same thing. But the amount of person that are taking that daily, it's uh, it's crazy.
Now, what I see is the amount of people that take it daily but don't have, psychotherapy or
Yeah.
psychiatric colleague accompanying that.
Yeah, because it's a
I
simple
mean, we
solution that
do.
the doctors give you, and you as a patient, like you don't know. Seriously,
No,
for
but
us,
if
it's so
you look
hard.
at, I mean, again, those drugs have a purpose. They serve a purpose. They do their work. Um, much less than generally anticipated. Like if you ask about people's
Yeah.
perception about how effective are antidepressants, it's grossly overestimated. But
Okay.
the evidence is clear about that. It does do or the greatest effect is achieved if you combine a medical or a drug
We.
therapy with
Yeah.
psychotherapy.
Hmm.
But then
Makes sense.
again, this is something which not everyone has access to, and that kind of makes us all, even the Western hemispheres, end up in a situation where we have very clear guidelines about what's more effective.
Yeah.
We can't, so we know it, but we can't really offer it to everyone.
Hmm.
That's of course a kind of frustrating experience to go through.
True.
Yeah.
Mm. Well, so definitely a grail then this one. Definitely a grail artwork. Um, okay, great. Well, I think that
Ah,
we'll share
the
everything.
initial
Yeah,
piece.
I
Yeah.
wanted to close the live show with this because it's kind of the beginning of this collection,
Yeah.
right? Everything started in Las Vegas, where we offer this magnificent one of one to Scotch folks, which is part of the collection, right? It's the first one. It's the only one inscribed already.
Exactly. It's
Hmm.
the initiation piece for revisiting elsewhere on Bitcoin.
Exactly. So yeah, I wrote these very short places because right now it feels that in ordinals we're in a moment where there there is not a lot of noise, like there is not a lot of activity, but it's so good to see that the people that are here are really enjoying what we are building, like the response, for example, for portraits of dissonance and weapon of mass liberation was great, and I believe that it's going to be the same for this one, and that's what I love, because the people that are here are really uh, enjoying what we're doing, and I think that they're sharing the same values. So yeah, I just wanted to write that and shout out to our best collector base. Like, we really have the best collectors in the space. So thank you so much, guys. It's thanks to you that we're still here, and we are doing all of this for you. So from collectors to creators, and once again, it gets back. That's thanks to you, DocT. You're always creating these experiences.
I'm trying. Thank you. You're allowing me to. But what you mentioned there is indeed very, very important. I think what Vivid has kind of accomplished, and why I'm so glad that I can stick around, is the collector base has kind of acknowledged that they're not collectors. They're shaping an
Hmm.
art movement and an ecosystem. They're hyperactive participants. They're not passive. The act of collecting in our ecosystem is a statement. It's kind of policy defining, if you want,
Hmm.
and that's a super special thing. It's something I think we don't see often. It's really just by coincidence living at the right time to actually go through this phase of this entire AOB ecosystem, which is gradually evolving, and it's all happening now. And it's not only the artists defining things, it's the artists and the collectors, and the influence the collectors have on the artists, which I consider a very constructive uh, feedback. I,
Yeah.
I remember from back in the non-on chain days. I fortunately never ran into something like that, but I know of other quite successful, very successful artists or digital artists who had quite difficult discussions with their collectors about floor pricing and all of this.
Hmm.
And what I like so much about our little Vivid family or AOB ecosystem is the conversations are really more about how could we do this? How could we involve you here? What will this build upon? What does this mean for the ecosystem on a broader scale? So it's the feedback loop between artist and
Yeah.
collector is super productive and
Hmm.
constructive, and very happy that Vivid has taken on the role to kind of host these kind of conversations and relations, which are then being built.
Oh, for us, it was the only way, Like, it's funny because I see a lot of people complaining about the activity, maybe in their ecosystem, and are like, "Wow, we're getting so many people giving titles, playing this little game on the platform." It's like, to me, it feels more active than ever because we're actually working with you guys and sharing all of these together. So yeah, thank you so much again. But so I just wanted to then once again share it with you because maybe some of the people listening to this don't know about what we're talking about. But if you go to the Vivid website, so here, if let's say that you arrive to the Vivid website and you go here to see the collection page, you can just go here, discover the collection, and you will see the platform where you can play both. And in the Discord, in your private category, DocT Collectors announcement, we shared the naming platform. Okay, so you will find it there, and I guess that we'll publish. So I know that some of your collectors are not in the Discord, um, but so if you are not in the Discord, you just have to change the URL. Maybe we'll share it. We'll share it anyway on X, the link. But you will have to connect with your wallet that holds the DocT piece. Okay, and if you don't have access to it, you just contact us and you give us the another address, and we'll put it there so you can suggest titles. Yeah. So everything is on the Discord anyway. That's the best place to find the information. And starting next week, I will start sending emails explaining a little bit more about what we're saying, sharing this replay, and of course, inviting you guys to collect. It's gonna be on the Vivid website too. So yeah, you will find it very easily. Okay. Well, I don't know if you had something to add, Doc, or we can close this live show and wait for the next ones with Scotch next week.
Super curious about those. I hope I can join live. Otherwise, I do hope there will be recordings as well. That's something I'm very much looking forward to because, again, Scotch Fox does. play a bit of a very special role for all of this
True.
here. Having been there just as base chain and of course also other very valued collectors, just taking all of this from Ethereum to Bitcoin via Vivid. It's very grateful and honored that this is really coming together, and very much looking forward to the shows next week. Yeah.
Love that. Well, thank you. It was a real pleasure. And guys, let's see you next week. Can't wait. Well, thank you so much, everyone. Don't forget to share this and share Vivid, share love. Bye bye, everyone.